It's out to deck. How you doing, guys?
Thank you.
It's like watching a film, but then all of a sudden we're in a film.
Roughly 5,000 metres above sea level. To give you an idea, that's about 700 metres on top of Kilimanjaro.
Race cycle is still going.
A little bit of an intro to Inge. Inge's a world-leading polar explorer. You might recognise his face from a fair few TV series and documentaries, including, but not only, the Prince Harry's Walking with a Wounded thing at the poles. He's a true adventurer, real adventurer. And what I mean by that is, the other day I called Inge up for a sound check, and he said, "Hey man, I can't do the Zoom right now. I'm on top of Norway's tallest mountain." So he's definitely an adventurer. He lives the adventure for sure. Welcome, Inge. Welcome. We can.
It's really cool to be invited to this, and I have to tell you guys that I love the initiative, and I wonder how you came up with it.
Oh yeah, I know. I think we just thought we'd put it on. We thought, let's entertain people with a bit of adventure. Really, that it was all it came from. We kind of thought, we're sat at home, not much to do with the lockdown, and we've got a couple of stories to tell. We know some friends who do, so we thought we'd rope them in, and it grew up into this big thing. Hey, Reese?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. So yeah, thanks so much for coming on. We never in our wildest dreams thought we'd get proper explorers and adventurers like you. We just thought it'd be us and our mates. And there you are, stood in front of the place that obviously you've spent so much of your time, is at the North Pole, right? The picture behind you.
Yeah, the picture is it's a picture I got 20 years ago from Børge Ausland. So the world's most incredible explorer. He happens to be Norwegian, and he gave me this picture after our first expedition together in 1999 to the North Pole. And it is my favorite place. And one of the reasons why it is so special to me, it's because it is the hardest place I've ever been to. And it's still the most, it's maybe because of its difficulty and hardship, it's also the most rewarding place I've ever been. So you feel more alive there, or I feel more alive up there than anywhere else on the planet. And since then, since 1999, I've had 20 incredibly inspiring expeditions up there with lots of different people, lots of different circumstances and conditions. So it's a very special place to me. And I'm so happy to have the North Pole on my wall.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome that you have. I was going to be my first question actually was, what keeps you going back? Because obviously it's not really designed for humans, is it? The North Pole. It's kind of it's more to keep you away. It's freezing cold, of course, extremely windy, generally tough. It's very rare that I imagine that it's nice and sunny. You get a nice shot like that. So what really brings you back there over and over again?
Well, it's because of the hardship, I guess, because it's a place so disconnected from the matrix that we live in. And it is, especially in so many ways, everything is moving, the ice is moving, it's an ocean, and the frozen ice on the ocean is usually around 1.5 to 2 meters thick, and it's constantly moving. So nature is constantly throwing these curveballs at you and making it difficult to be up there. So you have to be on your edge. But you would be surprised how many days are like this, sunny and beautiful. And it's because it's got a lot of high pressures up there, and same as the South Pole, it's also got a lot of high pressures. But it's when it's sunny and bright like this, it's also usually minus 35 to 40 degrees. So it's challenging, but if you're well prepared, it's not as bad as people think.
Yeah.
You sort of mentioned it, you said you've taken sort of loads of different people up there and that sort of thing. Is there any sort of, going so many times, is there any sort of one particular expedition that you're particularly proud of to go there, anything like that? Or?
Yeah, there are many expeditions that have different values and lessons and means different things to me. And one of the most common questions I get from journalists and other people as well is, what is my favorite place? What was my favorite expedition? And it's impossible for me to answer, really. a place or an expedition or a trip or an experience is very much colored and defined by your state of mind when you're there, who you're with, the purpose of your trip, and the lessons that come through unforeseen events or little things that happen that are influential to you. So a trip in Richmond Park can be as rewarding as a trip to a mountaintop if your state of mind, your experience is right.
That's such a good thing to say. That's really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Well,
Does
these places that we go to, these famous places like the North Pole, South Pole, the Himalayas, they are just symbols of achievement and hardship. And you know, everyday people achieve more and bigger and more important things every day in London, in Oslo, in Africa, and all over the world. I have to say, maybe it's counterproductive for my business, but I have to say that these places and what we're doing is absolutely overrated, and it doesn't change the world. The best thing we can hope for is that it inspires people to go out on other arenas and try to achieve their goals and live out their potential.
I suppose that's quite, I guess, topical right now then, with everything that's going on in the world in terms of like coronavirus and stuff, and the fact that so many people in sort of what would be perceived before as potentially standard jobs are just showing as so valuable and important to the community, and quite rightly so.
It is embarrassing that it took us so long as a community to appreciate and value those jobs. And I've always said that teachers and care workers are the most important people in our society. But for some strange reason, politicians have been elevated to celebrity status, and they think that they are important to us. You know, most of them are recruited from the wrong circles with the wrong reasons to seeking power and influence. I think, and I've always said that celebrities are overrated. You know, being known or powerful is a currency that we give value to, and I'm embarrassed sometimes when I see what people are reading and looking at, and I'm a bit worried that with all that crap input that we invite into our lives, the celebrity news, overrated football players, overrated polar explorers, whatever it is, what we invite into our life is defining us. Crap input gives crap output. So hopefully this corona crisis that we're seeing now might help us redefine what is important and who we should look up to. Maybe the neighbor is a bigger hero than your Arsenal or Manchester football player. Maybe we should start to elect better leaders and look for leaders and role models in other places than where we are looking today.
Yeah, a chance to hit the reset button, maybe. It's funny you should talk about role models, because we've got a comment come on here from a guy called Murray who said, my son's watching and says he must be going back to the North Pole to find Santa. So I think that's fun. There's a role model for you.
I have Santa up there and a lot of other interesting people.
I bet you find some interesting people at the North Pole. Yeah. So talking of your career and what you get up to, you do a lot of exploring and stuff, but also you are a guide. You take a lot of other people to these places. Yes. Take all kinds of different people. But I've noticed as well with the Walking the Wounded thing, and you also went to the South Pole, I think, as a two-man team with somebody who is blind. You've done a lot of guiding people who wouldn't usually get to go to these kind of places. So I just wonder if you could tell us a little bit about that, and is that important to your work and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that part of my work has become the most important part of my work, and I didn't know 10, 15 years ago that it would have such an impact on me. But when I first started taking so-called disabled people to these places, it was, yeah, I started out in my own hometown with taking on some responsibility and for some disabled people and taking them out in nature. But also then I went on to do the Beyond Boundaries TV production with safety and logistics for it, and it just forced me to rethink how I looked at so-called disabled people. First of all, I looked at them as a group of people, and they're as individual and different, each one of them, as we are, and they deserve to be treated and seen as individuals. You know, two people with the same disability can have completely different lives and challenges, just like you and me can have different challenges in our lives. And what happened was I saw people with disabilities and challenges, mental and physical, that found some kind of power and will and inspiration to overcome these challenges. And I saw them overcompensate what we as a society see as, and maybe them as well, see as impossible challenges. And impossible is basically taken out of my vocabulary now, because I've seen incredible feats and incredible achievements from all sorts of people. It also has made the bar for myself very high before I can feel sorry for myself, or before I feel that I have to give up, because I've seen people overcome the most incredible things, and it has inspired me a lot. And I'm very fortunate to be facilitating these things for other people, and I will not stop, because there are bigger and more important things to show the world as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think obviously guiding people of all different abilities to these places has its values in many different ways. And I wonder if you have any comment about, prior to COVID, maybe the biggest global threat was probably climate change. And yeah. I wonder if does that worry you, as somebody who's spent so much time in these really vulnerable sort of places to the issue? Do you think taking people there, and you have a big role in that as an adventurer, to make people aware of the risks? Or
I don't think I'm making a big difference in like any way there. I don't think I influence very well, directly or indirectly. First of all, my carbon footprint, because it's a popular topic, carbon footprint is big. I travel too much. I fly too many airplanes. I believe that words matter. Words matter because it just tells, it sort of focuses our mind around the topic. So I refuse to talk about climate change. And the reason is because I think it's a blurry concept that we can't really grasp as human beings. So it disables us and it paralyzes us instead of focusing on things that really matter. So I want to talk about pollution. I want to talk about consumption. I want to talk about bad policy decisions. I want to talk about concrete things that we can do every day as consumers and voters and friends and influencers in micro and macro, how we influence the world around us. And talking about climate change for me is something that is really convenient for politicians and business leaders and the sheep herd to talk about, because it just takes the focus away from concrete things that they could do. It blows my mind how many people get distracted and are, what do you call it? How many people believe in the hype that politicians and business leaders are making around topics like climate change, and they pour out these sound bites left, right, and center without giving it any substance or meaning, and they go back to their jobs or to their political power and sphere of influence, and they do nothing about it. They still subsidize fossil fuel industry, they still subsidize polluting industries, and they allow chemicals to go into our water and our air. And I think we have to be more concrete. Stop this campaigns around global warming, because it's too blurry. The temperature and the climate and our weather will change, and it will go up and down, and water levels will go up some places and down other places, depending on the tectonic plates moving around and land masses are going up or down. And I think that the scale of that is too big for us to grasp. So we can change the world by addressing concrete things here and now. And the big lines will be right, and the trends will be right if we do the right thing today.
Yeah, interesting point.
We
I
have
see what you mean.
We have to elect better leaders, and we have to do better ourselves. Personal social responsibility can fix this problem.
Yeah, I see what you mean about the buzzwords being handy. I think we see that quite a lot in global politics, and we've certainly had a few big buzzwords in the UK that I don't think we'll talk about today, but yeah, over the last couple of years. So, okay, moving away from that kind of stuff then, and back towards the actual environments themselves. I'm really interested, as someone who's always wanted to go to the North Pole and South Pole, the differences between the two places, because you kind of just look at a map and you think, okay, that one's icy, that one's icy, they're probably pretty similar. I mean, what's the crack there? What's the difference, the different challenges, and what's it like when you go to the two different places?
I love talking about this with people because I'm a polar nerd. I've been interested in it since I was a little kid. And the differences are many. The only similarity, I guess, is the light and so the number of daylight hours or night, and the cold is quite similar as well. Apart from that, they're very different. One is an ocean with a thin layer of ice drifting across it. And the other one is a continent with a thick plateau, 3,000 meter thick ice elevated up over the ocean with mountains around. So they're very, very different. The challenges and the conditions are very, very different. The fun facts that I like to share with people who ask me these questions is that the North Pole and the South Pole only has one day and one night per year.
Whoa.
So the definition of a day is when the sun rises and until it goes down. And the definition of a night is when the sun doesn't rise. So 6 months a year, the North Pole and the South Pole has day, and 6 months a year it has night. There's one sunset and one sunrise.
That's pretty similar in both. Have you ever been to them at night?
I have been in the Arctic at night, but never on the pole itself. Okay. I've been to the Arctic and spent months in the polar darkness, and I love that stuff. It's a different way of, I guess, calming your mind down, and it just it's a good escape from the matrix, as I call it. So the polar night, if you have the opportunity, spend some time in the Arctic in the winter, and it's not complete darkness all the time. Sometimes you have moonlight, sometimes you have the aurora borealis to fascinate you. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Do you have a preference between the two? If you had to choose North or South Pole?
Yeah, I prefer the Arctic. So much more happening in wildlife, and also it's more challenging, I feel. I love the Arctic. I'm almost born and raised in the Arctic, so I guess it's more home to me. And yeah.
So what you touched on there, wildlife was going to be one of my questions as well. Have you ever had any run-ins with the notorious wildlife in the Arctic?
Yes, many times. I've been fortunate to see hundreds of polar bears, and spend time up there with Norwegian television and other TV channels to film polar bears. And I'm not a filmmaker, but I do safety and logistics for it. So it's been amazing. And of course, polar bears is the sexiest animal up there. It's most popular, both for science and film. But I've also had time to spend with walrus, seals, reindeer, fox, polar fox, wolves, of course. I love wolves. They're my favorite animal. So yeah.
Very cool.
Have you got much planned? Obviously, when it all blows over, what sort of plans have you got coming up, or not too sure yet?
I'm planning to spend a lot of time in the Arctic this summer. We're planning to take a boat up there and offer at least for Norwegians, and as soon as the borders open up, offer cruises around Spitsbergen on a relatively small boat. Offer cruises for people. So I think we're going to have about 50 to 100 passengers on board expedition, and that's what I'm going to do most of the summer from July. And there'll be little trips here and there, other places. I also love the desert, and planning to do a trip to Moab if you guys want to join.
Yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, outside of your polo adventures, then let's talk a little bit about that. So you've done lots of other things all around the world. So where outside of the poles, not polar environments, is your favorite place to travel to?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for my home mountains, Rondane and Jotunheimen. I just came back from there. I was on one of those mountaintops when we spoke last time, and it just feels like home. I also love deserts, as I said, so I've been fortunate to spend a little bit of time in the Arab desert, and then my favorite place is Moab in Utah. Incredible scenery, incredible topography.
Yeah, it's a bizarre place. We drove our scooter and sidecar through that part of the world, and the rock formations are unbelievable, aren't they? It's like being on Mars. Yeah,
and different seasons have different beauty and challenges. So very cool place.
It's so cool. I love. I'm just going to go back a bit. I think you've given probably one of the best quotes of the whole weekend of this. You said "impossible" has been removed from my vocabulary, and that's just such a awesome thing to say. Like, it's just really,
it is strange. It might sound naive to say that, because of course that like everyone could come up with some sort of thing that seems impossible, but my experience is that if you put your mind to something, if you work hard, prepare well, and you give it all you have, you can achieve virtually anything. And I've seen that, and I've seen other people than me achieve it against all odds. So that has been very defining for my own life and life philosophy.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I think we've all seen bits and pieces of it with the documentaries you've been involved in and stuff, and it really is quite incredible and truly inspiring stuff. I'm definitely going to go and catch up on some more of it after the festival.
I hope that we can do things together. Collaborations and achieving things or doing things together with other people is something that has grown on me. I was a bit of a loner and antisocial when I was younger. I used to do my own trips alone, and then through the years I've learned and experienced how amazing it is to achieve things together with other people. And leadership and managing myself and leading myself and other people in extreme conditions has become the most important journey of my life.
Awesome.
It's awesome. Have you ever heard of anyone going to the North or South Pole in maybe not a traditional way? Maybe not skis, not walking. I'm thinking maybe scooters, sidecars.
I've seen all sorts, and I find it fascinating and interesting. And when people are doing it for themselves because they love doing what they do, I have friends who insist in pulling kayaks across the polar ice cap. I have friends who like to bicycle on fat bikes, and as long as people are doing these things for themselves, like with honest intentions, I love it. When they are doing it just to find some far-fetched angle to attract sponsors or media attention, and just it doomed and it fails again and again, it just it's annoying because it distracts and attracts sponsorship money and attention from things that are really worth something. One of the arenas where I see a lot of I don't know if it's politically correct to call it bullshit, but I'll do it anyway. A place where I see a lot of bullshit is in the high mountains and Everest and stuff, where you see the amateurs being celebrated more than the professionals. I'm not superhuman, and very few of the people that are known as explorers are huge superhuman. But I have seen superhuman abilities, and they've been in the Sherpas and the locals in Greenland and other places where they are more adapted, they are harder and stronger, and they tap into things that we have lost in our modern civilization and modern societies, spiritual things and forces that are very strange and very difficult to explain.
Yeah, it sounds like you've seen some things that it's hard to get across. You have to have been there and kind of experienced it and been to some of these incredible places. I think one of the questions that we're getting coming up quite a lot is the two places we've been talking about, mainly the poles, they seem so far away, and the Arctic. And if we want to get there, explore these environments, and one day, you know, not just jump on a plane or whatever, but like properly go to the North Pole or something, how do you go about doing that? Where do you start planning for a trip like that?
First of all, you don't need to go to the North Pole. It's just a symbolic place on top of the globe. It looks exactly the same as anywhere else on the polar ice cap, on the polar ocean. And it's extremely expensive to go there. The logistics are crazy, and the cost is crazy. Same as the South Pole. The Arctic and Antarctic plateaus, the Arctic Ocean and the surrounding areas is very accessible to anyone. You could take commercial planes to the Arctic, and you could venture out and feel the environment and the atmosphere. You can see the wildlife without paying thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
And, I think it's more accessible than people know, but because the North Pole and the South Pole has these are beacons, and they attract all of the attention, and the polar bear attracts all of the attention. People think that they have to see a polar bear and go to the South Pole or North Pole to have achieved anything or to have a great experience. But there's nothing happening on the North Pole or South Pole. So it's better you focus on the places where things are happening, where the topography, the nature, the animal wildlife, and also the cultural experience. You know, it's much better in the surrounding areas and the outskirts than it is on the pole itself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so then if we were going to go and explore the Arctic, one place that we should go to get the little bit of a taste in the Arctic, where should we go?
If you're in Europe, the easiest place to go is the Norwegian Arctic up in Svalbard. You could also go further south in the Arctic, Norway mainland, with Lofoten, Finnmark, and these places, beautiful places. Culturally, and of course the nature is beautiful as well. But I guess Svalbard, it has a very special appeal to people, summer and winter. If you're in the US, it's very easy to go to the Arctic Canada and Alaska. Russia, you have Siberia with commercial planes going to different places in the Arctic. Some places are defined as military areas, so you have to have special permits, but there are cities and places to go that are extremely exciting and beautiful culture and nature.
Yeah, Svalbard for me is where I want to go. It's just got that name, so it's got that ring to it, hasn't it? You just think, yeah, I'd love to get there. Yeah.
And I think you would love Svalbard, not with a sidecar, because Svalbard has 46 kilometers of road, I think.
Okay, yeah, maybe not.
We might take that advice on board, but who knows? Listen, we're running out of time, unfortunately. But I mean, I've seen this feed going, and people are like, "This is just insane." Some of the stories, some of your views are just incredible. So thank you so much for that. There is one final question. Murray's put on this: is what is the coldest temperature that you've ever been at? Which is, I suppose, quite an interesting one, just to give people a perspective how cold it can really be.
So there is the actual temperature, which is the coldest I've experienced is 55 minus Celsius. But there are sometimes you have the wind chill factor, and then a warmer temperature, but a hurricane strength wind can make the real temperature or the ambient temperature much colder. So I guess I've seen maybe 75 to 80 minus in ambient temperature.
Right.
And one year, actually the year we had Mark Pollock, the blind guy, first blind person to reach the South Pole, that year we had 2 pitarax, falling winds, hurricane strength that fell on us or we had during our expedition. And I think that might be one of the coldest expeditions I've been on. And I remember New Year's Eve, I was walking between the tents, checking them for safety and checking up on people in their tents. And we had hurricane and minus 30 degrees. So it was pretty chilly.
Pretty chilly. Hurricane at minus 30, it was pretty chilly. We were in minus 30 when we were in Siberia on our scooter and sidecar, and we described it yesterday as the worst thing we'd ever done. So pretty chilly. You can see we're a bit more dramatic than you about it, Inge. Yeah, so
something about growing up in Norway. We still go to school in minus 30 degrees and we play outside. So it's different reference.
yeah.
And also, it's manageable if you stay dry and if you cover your exposed skin. It's still manageable.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, mate, is the common sense and the understanding how to manage it thing, and not just turning up with normal motorbike gear in Siberia. Yeah, that's where we missed that point.
The cultural difference is quite funny for us because in our Norwegian military service, we get court-martialed if we get frostbite. And in the UK, you get knighted. So
yeah,
cultural difference.
That's so true. Okay, man, we're going to have to wrap it up there, but that's been so interesting. The feed's been going wild. I'm sure people would like to hear more from you. Where can we find you on the internet and things like that if we want to see what you're up to?
Any questions or contact people, I'm very easily available on Instagram. And any questions that they couldn't ask now, they can easily ask me on Instagram. I have a lot of time, and
cool.
I'm very approachable.
Yeah. So that was the Inge Solheim chat. Fun guy to have on, quite a character. Got some strong views about things and the world. Very thoughtful guy, and does some very out there expeditions. The real deal, I think, mate. Inge was. Hopefully, we can have him on again in the future for some more stuff.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So, who's up next, Reese?
Next, mate, we're going to go away from the Armchair Adventure Festival and to the Armchair Adventure Festival film night. And we're going to have a chat, go back to our chat with Armchair Adventure. So a lot of you know who he is, a bit of a legend within the adventure motorcycling world. Armchair Adventure, 8 years around the world, 200,000 miles, literally finished university, sold all of his possessions and thought, sod it, let's get on the bike, shall we? And he's a bit of a YouTube superstar, absolute dab hand with a drone. So yeah, his films are particularly impressive. So if you're watching next week when we'll be showing you it and you enjoy the interview, check out his YouTube channel as well. It's really cool. Yeah. So next week we've got Armchair Adventure, and obviously if you are watching this right now on YouTube, you do want to see his YouTube videos, you can go to his YouTube page, and if you want to see the actual interview right now, you can go and become a patron for $1, can't you, mate?
£1 a month backstage pass.
Yeah.
So when's this going out, Reese?
This will be going out, I'm not sure, because we've got our book launch next week. Or
exactly.
We had our book launch last week.
According to this. Yeah, so this one is going out first week of September. We're at the Overland event.
I would say it's not going out then. I reckon it's might be going out the week after.
You reckon 2 weeks off from the Armchair Adventure Festival content?
Yeah, because Kinging It is today. It's like time travel this trip to this show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kinging It is today, tomorrow. Inge's going to be next week. We just recorded the thing for Inge. And a week after that is going to be Armchair Adventure. So probably we're coming to you now in 3 weeks' time.
But 4 weeks, because we're going to have to miss a week because we've got the Armchair Adventure Festival film night.
Yeah. Maybe 4 weeks.
Okay.
So not only are you getting fantastic content, you're also time traveling with us. Right?
Yeah. This is us speaking to you from the past.
Yeah.
And I hope you're enjoying it here in September.
What are
We're
you
having a
doing
nice time.
next week?
It's only a week or so to my birthday, mate.
Yeah. What you?
September 30th.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Right now.
Yeah. What are you going to get me?
Nothing.
I sent you a present.
Did you?
Sent you a bundle of Armchair Adventure Festival stash.
All right.
No?
Not sure. Maybe I'll get you some stickers.
Okay then. Well, we'll see you next time for more
I think Matt's.
Armchair Adventure Festival content. I'll just pick what video it is. What, mate?
I thought you left us there, mate. You stopped. So I was just going to finish what you said because it's definitely stopping the record. We'll see you next time, the Armchair Adventure Festival stage.
Yeah, when I'll be picking the video because it will be my birthday when it comes out. So exciting times.
Yeah.
See you later, guys.
Bye.